super choppy?
You're a little bit choppy.
Yeah.
Good rebound. All right, welcome to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Jake and I are both keeping an eye on the Badgers and St. Mary's, which I'm a little surprised that St. Mary's beat Oregon, if I'm being honest. I turned this game on. I didn't know who won last night. I wasn't paying attention. And I turned it on. I'm like, oh, Badgers and St. Mary's? Okay. But we're going to start with Bucks basketball. Then we're going to go to the Packers. Then we're going to switch to the Badgers to end the show, football and basketball. And during the show, we'll give live updates on the Badgers, who are down 20-17 right now. So we'll keep you posted on that. But we're going to start with Bucks, and we'll start with the Lakers game. So I will kick it to Jake, and he can get it going.
Lakers game, man. So for anybody who debates basketball on almost a daily basis like myself, you know that there's a matchup in this game that is always a heated debate, and that is Giannis versus Anthony Davis. And, you look at the stat line, you can pretty much tell who won that matchup. Giannis had 47 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal. And Davis ended with 18 points, 9 rebounds, had a couple blocks himself. They both blocked each other, actually, which is, pretty even. They're both two-way players. But Giannis really went at the chest of Anthony Davis and basically took his heart and his soul out in one game. And Stephen A. Smith was killing Davis all week, talking about how he's not a dog. He's a very talented, very skilled player. He's got a nice jumper. He's just a good player, two-way player. But Giannis has got that extra oomph that you want in your superstar, and he really, really went at Anthony Davis and gave him the business. One thing that I thought was weird in this game was – that was weird and also very, very big for us in this game is George Hill's impact on the game. He ended with a plus-minus of plus 23. He had 0 points. Wow. But something that he did was 9 rebounds. He grabbed 9 rebounds as a 6'3 guard. That tied for the most on the team with Giannis. So that was very, very big. He's a role player that understood his role in that game, and he played it very well.
James, what's up? Thanks for watching. Got James in here watching us talk about basketball, even though he's a Saints fan, so appreciate him supporting us. So we noticed some different things in this game, and I like that. That's part of what makes our dynamic work out well, is that you were looking at George Hill's impact, and something that stood out to me in this game was not George. I see G and I said George. Giannis and Pat Connaughton running the pick and roll together.
Yeah.
And not the way you think. Giannis was the ball handler with Pat Connaughton setting the screen for him. They did this a whole bunch of times. And Pat Connaughton most of the time would pick and then pop, and he got a couple wide open threes out of it, and he's knocking them down. Pat Connaughton is just raining threes so far this season. And we're going to talk about that more, but running different guys in that pick and roll with Giannis, and even using Giannis as the ball handler in that situation, creates some really weird mismatches for teams. And, it puts teams in weird positions, like who do you guard Giannis with? And then you're leaving a 40% three-point shooter. So James is talking about the Celtics game. That's the game that we had no starters playing. So that one, I'll take a mulligan on that one. Just like the Heat game at the beginning of the year when we were playing without 3 of our starters and Miami was acting like it was a playoff game. Like, just take that one.
James is talking about the Celtics game, and he said Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, James. But the next holiday, you're not going to like talking about the Celtics and Bucks, because I have a feeling that one's going to end a little differently.
We'll see. Brook Lopez should finally be back by then. Budenholzer's been talking about him. It's soon. They're working him back in. He's getting into some work. So Brook Lopez should be back soon. I don't think they're going to rush him back now. The Bucks are 4-0 since Middleton's been back. They're 6-0 in games that the big three have played all together. So they're not going to rush Brook Lopez back. Giannis was actually just named Eastern Conference Player of the Week on Monday, right before the game yesterday. So, the last 3 games, he averaged 33, 16, 5, 2.7 blocks, and 1.7 steals. So Giannis is holding it down just fine. I know. That's an MVP DPOY combination right there.
That's a stat line.
And looking at the stats from some of these games and watching the impact, especially with a guy like Bobby Portis, who's just everywhere in that Lakers game. He looked like he was starting to hit his midseason form. You talk about good teams wanting to be in midseason form at the beginning of the year. That's something that separates good teams from bad teams. Being ready right away. And the Bucks, they played game one, everybody healthy. They looked ready. They beat the Nets, and that was a good game. But Bobby Portis in this game, he had a possession where he stole an inbounds pass after scoring, got 2 offensive rebounds in the same possession, and then scored. So Bobby Portis is just flying all over the place. What's up, Coach? I got Coach watching. That's my college basketball coach, Jake. If you didn't know, that's Scott Farr. That's my college basketball coach. But I mean, this game, Chris Middleton hit back-to-back threes. He tied Ray Allen's record. We'll talk about that in the next game. And then they pulled away late with Giannis working in the post. So I was talking about Giannis playing the pick and roll game with Pat Connaughton. And then late in the game, he was setting screens and getting switches. And Talen Horton-Tucker, who's like a really good player for the Lakers, he's just too small to handle Giannis. So they got those mismatches. Giannis is working in the post, and that's how they were able to pull away from the Lakers late in this game. Pat Connaughton hit like a really late shot clock 3. Like the ball was kind of just fumbling around on the ground. He picked it up, shot it, cashed it, just to take the lead back. So, I mean, Pat Connaughton just raining threes. Bobby Portis, I'm going to talk about him more in the other games. Giannis talked a lot about being aggressive after this game. So I'm gonna keep some eyes on that. And he hit 2 catch and shoot threes in this game. So that happened. There was one play. Giannis broke it down in the post game where I think it was Middleton drove, and he drove baseline, and he kicked it across to Grayson Allen, who pump faked, kicked it to Drew, pump faked, kicked it to Bobby, pump faked, kicked it to Giannis. So the ball touched all 5 players' hands, and Giannis said it didn't even matter if I shot that. He said it's a momentum play. I have to shoot that. Whether I make it or not doesn't matter. And he obviously made it. So that's a huge momentum play where all 5 players touch the ball moves around beautifully, and Giannis hits the 3 to pay it off. So that was a great play to see, and that's a good ball movement play. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the Bucks and Lakers?
No, man. You touched on a lot of good points, and we are going to talk a lot more about Bobby, and
yes, we are.
It's been awesome.
All right, so let's talk about the Bucks and Thunder. So I'm going to keep a Giannis first quarter points tally here. So the Thunder game, Giannis talked about wanting to be aggressive early. He said he plays his best when he's aggressive. So this game, Giannis scored 7 of his 21 in the first quarter. Finished with 21, 19 rebounds, and 7 assists. And then he added 4 blocks and 2 steals. Coach, I said Lopez, they said soon. So just going to keep using the word soon because the longer they can keep playing without him, probably the longer they'll keep him out just to get him closer and closer to 100%. Especially with a back issue for an older player, that's something that they'll want to just let it go as long as they can. And, maybe even get it to a point where they have a couple days off. So maybe my guess, if I had to guess, I would say next Wednesday. They have 3 more games in between today and next Wednesday. They play tonight, Friday, Sunday, and then they don't play again until next Wednesday. So that would give them another week off and only missing 3 more games. So, I mean, if they're going to keep using the word soon, my guess would be next Wednesday. So my coach said I know all about back issues. That's funny. I'm getting there too now that I'm tall and working all the time.
Man, yeah. Just getting older, period.
all 5 starters and George Hill got into double figures. Middleton had 16, 8, and 4. Bobby had 13 and 17 with 4 offensive rebounds. So I'm going to keep talking about that. And I mentioned it, Chris Middleton, he became the all-time franchise leader in threes. He was asked about it in the postgame. He said to Giannis, he's like, hey, man, just let me get 1 record and I'll be happy.
Yep. He said
Giannis is going to have all the other team records. So, yeah, Middleton just wanted to have 1 team record, and it's the 3-pointers made. So he talked about it, and he just wants to keep moving up in the all-time ranks now, and now that he's the Bucks franchise leader in 3-pointers made. So What did you see from that Thunder game that stood out to you?
Well, the Thunder, they've been the same team for the last couple of years in terms of them being young and being scrappy. That's what they do. They have a couple comeback win. They're comeback kids this year, actually. 2 of their wins, comebacks, were against the Lakers, which is hilarious.
Yep.
And one of them, they were down by 26, which is crazy. They came all the way back in that game. The other one was 16. So I remember I was actually in Milwaukee, not watching the game. I was listening to it on the radio. I had some family stuff, I'll call it, to attend to on Friday night. It was Dave's celebration of life. But I wasn't able to watch the game, so I was listening to it on the radio, and they were talking about them being the comeback kids. And, you know, it came true. They closed the gap, and they were aggressive. And Bobby Portis, dude, it's so hard. I'm one of those guys, you know, like, I love Aaron Rodgers. He's my favorite player because, like, he does amazing stuff, right? Giannis is my favorite player because I watched him and I'm like, holy crap, dude, he's amazing. I'm saying if Giannis didn't exist, Bobby Portis is easily my favorite player on the Bucks. His work ethic, his game, the funny faces he makes when, like, he's sliding on the ground or he's high stepping the sidelines. Like, I love everything Bobby Portis, man. Like, he is awesome to me. He is amazing to watch. The thing that I really kind of took away from this game, really personally, was it was just a bad shooting game for both teams. They weren't very efficient from three-point line or from the field. The Bucks just shot a little bit better, and that was kind of the difference in the game. I mean, we won 96.
The Bucks were good at the free throw line in that game. Was a help too.
Hey, and you want to know something my dad always told me growing up? My dad tried to teach me little keys here and there. He used to tell me free throws win games, and this is one of those games where that could be an example for that. So Bobby Portis, I love him. Chris Middleton, you know, breaking the record, like you said, that is awesome. I mean, congratulations to him. And Giannis is just the man. You were saying his stat line, and I wrote it down earlier when I was doing my research, and I'm like, good God, this guy does no wrong in this state. No wrong. Giannis does no wrong. But, yeah, it was just Buck shot a little bit better and grinded out a W, man. They had a huge lead. They almost let it slip away. With that being said, with our main guys coming back, this is the difference between, you know, NBA players who have been through it and NBA players who haven't. The thing with young players is they have to learn how to win. They have to learn how to close out games. And that's something that it's a process. That's what the Thunder are going through right now. They're learning how to win games. You can't put yourself down by 15 consistently and think that you're going to win 45, 55 games. It's just not going to happen that way. The Bucks, Chris Middleton's back. He's getting his footing back. I didn't expect him to be all-star, but he has been very, very good for us. Giannis, Drew, we have guys, pros, that know how to win and close out games. This is one of those games that shows that. The Bucks and Magic, holy crap, the Bucks got on fire, but I'm going to let you start with that one.
All right, I just want to throw a couple more things out with that Oklahoma City game. I wrote it in my notes that I want to see Drew Holiday start to heat up his shooting a little bit. But with that also is Drew Holiday played some damn good defense in this game.
Yeah.
I mentioned it when we talked last week, just some things to look out for with SGA on Oklahoma City, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was held to 5 for 20 on shooting. And he was 2 for 12 on three-pointers. So Drew, you know, that's a thing where Drew isn't shooting well, but he's doing other stuff to impact the game. I did mention the free throws, and then the last thing I wanted to say is it was really weird that the Bucks only had 2 fast break points in this game.
That
struck me as weird.
That's very un-Milwaukee Bucks-like. I would agree.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not a new thing. I mean, they increase it the next 2 games going forward, but it was really weird that the Bucks only had 2 fast break points in that game. But moving on to the Magic game, the Giannis first quarter check-in. He had 9 points in the first quarter of this game. Out of his 32, he finished with 32, 20, and 5. The only player NBA history to score 30, have 20 rebounds, and 5 assists in 30 minutes or less. So the time it takes a pizza to be delivered to your house, Giannis is putting up 30, 20, and 5 on you.
That's sick, bro. That is so sick.
I knew you'd like that.
I saw that stat the other day when we won, and I was like, that is freaking nasty, bro.
So now I put the star next to it in this game, but I'm going to talk about it in the next one as well. Is Bobby's putting up stuff that can get him back into that 6 man of the year consideration. If he's starting some games here and there, depending on which way Budenholzer shuffles the lineup. Some games it's Pat, some games it's Bobby. Bobby Portis, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 3 offensive, and he shot 6 of 7 on threes. You talk about how good that Giannis can be in the paint, and then the way that the role players are just raining down threes, which Grayson Allen is top 5 in the NBA in three-pointers made right now. So there's that.
He's been awesome.
He fits so well. We're going to revisit that Grayson Dante thing in the future. So we'll definitely check in on that again. But this thing that stuck out to me in this game was opposite of the Oklahoma City game where the Bucks shot poorly on threes and well at the free throw line. This game, they shot well on threes. They were 19 for 40, just under 50%. And then they took 37 free throws in this game and only made 24. So that's, we look at this game, the Bucks only won by 9. If they just make a handful more of those free throw games, it's a double-digit win. They out-rebounded Orlando 60-39, so that jumped off the page right away on its own, was out-rebounding Orlando by 21.
And grabbing 60, bro. I was like, oh,
I know.
shit.
Usually 50 is usually like a good benchmark, and they grabbed 60 rebounds in this game. I want to see the turnovers come down. That's something that stood out to me in a negative way with this game, was 14 turnovers. And then, surprisingly, again, only 8 fast break points and only 26 points in the paint out of 117. Only 26 in the paint. So, I did mention the Bucks were raining down threes. They made almost 50% of their threes, but this was the second consecutive game. I saw this a lot, was this topic of conversation where it was 2 games in a row where the Bucks let a late lead kind of get slipped away, and then they had to kind of push to finish the game out. Thankfully, that wasn't the case in the next Orlando game, but I'm going to let Jake give his thoughts on the first Orlando matchup.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk about some bonker stats in this game. First of all, Tyler already mentioned the Bucks, 19 of 40 from 3. The Magic made 19 threes. They shot 51 three-pointers. I'm like, wow, bro, that's crazy. 51 threes they attempted. That's absolutely insane. Bobby Portis, you mentioned his stats. He was crazy. No Cole Anthony for the Magic, which is actually really, really big.
Yeah.
Yep, they are. The Badgers are just
Badgers are down. Slow. Yeah, they're down 6.5.
I would agree with Scott. They look a step slow right now. But I have a stat on Giannis and Bobby. They are the first Bucks duo to each record 20 points and 15 rebounds in the same game since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Curtis Perry on January 11th, 1974.
Nice.
I saw that the other day, and I was like, that is a long time ago.
We both have stats from the 70s on the Bucks this week. All right, sweet.
Yeah, so that Tyler and I are going to start a new segment. This is a good segue. We're going to start stat of the week, and we're both going to come up with one, and we're going to share them on Friday. So if you guys are into interesting stats, it's always something that me and Tyler have personally really been interested in, is those cool little stats, like from 1974. That's a long time ago, man. Something that made me feel kind of old today. This is kind of off topic, but kind of relative. My stepson's birthday is actually tomorrow. It's on Thanksgiving, and he turns 9 years old. And I didn't think back, and I'm like, man, 2012 was 9 years ago. What the hell happened? Holy camole, man.
Hey, my college basketball coach is watching and commenting today, and that was in 2011 that I was playing basketball, so I got that.
Man, that's crazy, dude. Think about this, man. Wow. We've all got kids and families and houses. I don't know what's going on anymore. We're going to talk Bucks and Magic. Anyways, let's go on to the next one.
All right. So, Jake just gave his stat from 1974. I'm going to throw one out from 1978. Is the Milwaukee Bucks had the biggest lead at a halftime in franchise history in this game. They were winning 77-36, so it's a 41-point lead. The previous record was 38-point lead in 1978. So the Bucks broke a record for the biggest halftime lead since 1978. So the biggest lead in franchise history at halftime. First quarter check-in on Giannis. This game ended up being kind of weird because the Bucks kept their foot on the gas, so they didn't need a ton of oomph late in this game. Giannis had 5 of his 12, so almost half of his points, and then he finished with 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Really balanced scoring in this game. Like I said, they didn't really have to. I don't want to say that they didn't have to compete late in this game, but the way they kept their foot on the gas, a lot of guys were able to get involved. 7 guys in double figures. Every player that played scored. I'm stealing all of Jake's stuff. This is what happens when I go first.
No, I love
say
it.
Everything you.
I love it because I love that everybody scored, dude. That just shows that you dominated somebody, man. I love it.
So Bobby Portis, checking in on him again, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 5 of them offensive. Chris Middleton at 12 points in 20 minutes. Drew Holiday heated up in this game, so I mentioned I was looking for him to heat up. He finished 8 of 14 for 18 points, 6 rebounds and 4 assists, and 2 steals. The Bucks got back a little more normal this game. Like I said, they kept their foot on the gas. 14 fast break points, 36 points in the paint, so getting a little more to their identity. Obviously ended up winning this game by 31 points. And I gotta mention my man Pat Connaughton again. 17 points, 6 rebounds. He was 5 for 7 on threes. I mean, can't say enough good things about Pat Connaughton. Coach, thanks for tuning in. So can't say enough. I really can't say enough good things about Pat Connaughton.
No, man.
He's a stud.
The thing about the Bucks, I find it hilarious when Bulls fans are, and okay, I'm going on a rant now. God, I was like, don't talk about the Bulls. Chicago fans are so annoying, dude. But during the offseason, all we heard about was, the Bears this, the Bears that, Justin Fields, blah, blah, blah. The Bears are supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, I know. They're on their 4th consecutive savior. I got it.
Yeah, and now we get to the NBA season. The Bulls start out pretty good. They look good in some games. They've lost some games that they probably shouldn't have lost. They won games that they wouldn't have won in previous seasons. But let's not pound our chest and act like these guys are just going to run away with the title, okay? Let's not act like they're going to run away with the Eastern Conference. Okay, let's settle down. The thing about the Bucks is we are filled with good professional basketball players. Pat Connaughton is high quality. Bobby Portis, high quality. George Hill, high quality. That's all coming off the bench. And then you get
Dante is not even back yet. He's going to be, when he's healthy at first, he's probably going to be coming off the bench to start.
Yeah.
But
high quality. No matter who comes off the bench at that guard position, that 2 guard, if it's Dante or if it's Grayson, high quality off the bench.
Yep.
The Bucks bench is legitimately 9 deep, and I mean that with my heart.
Yeah, 9 guys that could start.
This Milwaukee Bucks team is good. Very, very good. They have a very good chance as long as Giannis stays healthy, Chris Middleton's making his shots, and Drew Holiday isn't shooting 1 for 13 on threes. This Milwaukee Bucks team can go back-to-back. I don't care what anybody says.
Dude, I strongly agree.
I'm just so sick of Bulls fans, dude. I can't wait till playoffs. I really can't. The game's going to
We're like, 15 games in? 17?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we're good. And they're acting like they're just blowing us out of the water. You're 2 games ahead of us, and
we're not even a quarter of the way through the season.
I don't even start really caring about the NBA season. I mean, I do. But I don't really start caring until mid-January. That's when shit gets real. That's when you get close to the All-Star break.
Yeah.
That's when shit gets real, man. I'll just be honest with you.
For me, I think it's Christmas is that benchmark of when it starts to kind of get a little more serious. But even then, I mean, last year during the Bucks season, we spent basically all of January, February, and March talking about context and rotations and not caring about the wins and losses as much.
Dude, if you're healthy and if your superstars are healthy and you got your bench guys understanding their role, which I just talked about George Hill in the Lakers game, he completely understood his role in that game. He is a point guard. He didn't score. He had a plus 23, which is the highest of the whole game. He grabbed 9 rebounds as a 6'3" guard, which was tied for the high on the Bucks. He knew his role. That's what I mean by high quality off the bench.
Yep.
And me and you were talking about it the other day, actually, in a group, and you talked about how the Bulls don't have any interior defense. That's not changing unless they make a trade. And they're going to have to give up something to acquire that ability, right? So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. back to this Bucks and Magic game real quick here. The Milwaukee Bucks stayed hot from behind the arc. They made 18 threes in this game. And for a total of the 2 games against the Magic, they shot 37 of 85. You shoot 37 of 85 in a 2-game stretch, you're going to probably win both of those games, unless you're just turning the ball over at an alarming rate, right? Drew Holiday, you said he heated up. He was the leading scorer in this game. It was only the 4th game this year that Giannis wasn't the leading scorer on the Bucks. I thought that was something that was really, really key. And the Magic kind of slowed down in this game. They didn't shoot as well as they did the game before, not the night before. And Bobby Portis, man, we keep bringing him up, but he has a streak of 3 consecutive double games, and that's a guy that's going to be coming off our bench, and I've hit on that about 100 times, so I'm very redundant right now, but his ability to double up off the bench, get Bobby Buckets is his nickname. He's a lunch pail guy. He does it all, and I love when he gets a steal and leaks out and he does his little finger roll, man. I mean, looks kind of corny with the headband, but it works, man. I love it, man. This Bucks team, we're going to be heating up, and I can't wait to shut up the Chicago fans. It's always my favorite thing in sports.
It was funny that you said it. You said, the Bulls aren't running away with the title, and the first thing that popped into my head was, they're going to run away with the 5 seed.
Yeah. They probably will be the 5 seed. I can see that. That's realistic.
Because, once everybody's healthy, Brooklyn's above them, Milwaukee's above them, Miami's above them, and then you take your pick of Philly, Boston,
Atlanta.
Atlanta, Washington actually looks all right now. I think they're going to fall to that 7-8 Charlotte area.
Did you see – I got to ask. Did you see Kyle Kuzma's sweater the other day? Did you see it, bro? Oh, my God. Did you see all the memes, man?
That was probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen anybody wear.
I was
did he steal that from Boban or something?
Dude, he had to, because this guy's 6'9", 6'10", and it's hanging off his hands like he's a freaking
Dude, he better not wear that in the wintertime when it snows, or it's going to be all slushy, like the bottom of your pants gets slushy like that. Yeah, that's what the sleeves are going to look like.
And then you're going to end up cold no matter what, right? Oh, man, I just had to ask if you saw that, because that was super awkward. I was laughing my ass off at all the memes, though, dude. That shit was hilarious.
All right, that's enough Kyle Kuzma talk. One last thing I want to say about the Bucks. Okay. Semi Ojeleye is going to miss at least 3 weeks, which is a bummer, because just as guys are starting to come back, we're starting to see what Semi Ojeleye's role could be. I saw a lot of hate for Semi Ojeleye because he's off to a slow shooting start. But he's done some good things here and there. He's shown flashes of being a good defender, which we know that he is. But as guys get healthy and Semi Ojeleye finds a role, that's the type of thing like Thanasis. Thanasis knows his role. Yep. His role is cut out. When he gets put in, his role is to give 1,000% for a couple minutes. That's Thanasis's role, is to give all the effort you have for a 48-minute game in 6 minutes. That's something that Semi Ojeleye can find out when everybody's healthy. And that's what the Bucks need right now, is to be healthy. But right now the big 3 is healthy, and they're 6-0 with the big 3 playing. So that's the important takeaway. I don't know if you have anything else Bucks related.
No, they're going to wear those sweet new jerseys again tonight. The Pistons will also be wearing their City Edition jerseys. Other than that, let's just keep stacking up wins, hopefully getting healthier. Health seems to be a word that needs to be talked about with all of our teams lately, which is very frustrating, but the Bucks are getting healthier. That being said, we're going to move on to the Packers, I think, here. Yeah. I had to say it, dude. I was thinking about it already.
Can we just go one game? Just one game without somebody getting hurt?
Seriously, dude. Seriously.
Oh, just one game, dude.
Seriously.
Just one. I just want to go one game where we end up the next week being healthier than we were the week before. Apparently, I'm not going to get that opportunity. It's 2 weeks in a row where we lose an impact player to a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
Because now next year we're going to be in the same position with Elton Jenkins that we are right now with Bakhtiari. We just talked about it last week, how we're excited that the left side of our line is going to be healthy and we can move guys back. And now we're going to be without Elton Jenkins the rest of the year. Yeah. The only good thing with this happening now, instead of when it happened with Bakhtiari's injury was in the middle of the playoffs, is that we can prepare for it at least. That's the only good thing I can say about that. It sucks. It sucks. I mean, I don't know exactly when Josh Myers is going to be back yet. I don't think they've said, but it's the Bucks. The Packers just need health. I saw a lot of Vikings fans criticizing the Packers defense, and it's like, okay, this also is not nearly a healthy Packers defense. It's not even the same Packers defense they had last week.
For real,
when Rashawn Gary and Whitney Merciless played. You give us those two, and the pass rush is much different, and maybe one of those interceptions stands instead of getting called back for a penalty.
A lot of things change. When I do my stars, you'll hear. I got something to say.
For me, 3 stars would have been Rodgers, MVS, and probably A.J. Dillon. They all would have been on offense. It was kind of a rough game for the defense, but I'll let you throw your 3 out there.
Okay, so my 3 stars. I have an honorable mention being Kenny. Kenny Clark was absolutely manhandling that center on multiple.
He was murdering him.
He was making him look not 300 pounds. That's what I'm gonna say.
Dude, he pushed that center back so hard on one play that he almost sacked Kirk Cousins on a handoff.
I thought he was gonna, dude. He would have blew up on Twitter, dude. People would have been going crazy. Kenny Clark was a madman to start out the game. He kind of gassed out a little bit, but he still had his plays here and there. My number 3 was actually Preston Smith. He ended the game with 6 tackles, 4 solo, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and he had 3 quarterback hits. Now, you take into account Kenny Clark collapsing in the middle. Preston Smith had 2 sacks, which was the only 2 for the entire team. And then you give him, Preston Smith was really the only pass rusher by himself. I mean, we had some flashes on the other side. But imagine if Rashawn Gary's over there, and now you have the Packers defense. He's really, Kirk Cousins is going to feel the pressure from all angles. He knows he can roll out to one side now, and that's kind of the weak side of the defense.
That takes away some of those deep balls that he was able to throw.
Yeah, he still played a great game. No, Preston Smith did, in my opinion. Number 2 is a combo. It's 2 wide receivers. Davonte Adams, he was doubled basically all game. Bracket covers all game. They played shell defense. They played a lot of cover 2. And shell defense basically just keeps everything in front of you. And they were just not allowing Adams to break free. They would send a linebacker underneath. They'd have a corner over the top, safety over the top. They were not allowing Adams to break free and do what he normally does. He still ended with 7 receptions, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's him being held in check.
Dude, I tweeted this. I was absolutely baffled. How did Rodgers see Adams on that second touchdown?
I have no idea. That's Aaron Rodgers.
He was being pushed to the ground, threw it like this, and then it's like Adams is just wide open. Like, how did you see that?
But I'm going to touch on that. Because Rodgers is Rodgers, right? MVS was the other one. He had one of the biggest plays of the game, that big, long 75-yarder. He had another long catch. Earlier in the game, he had 4 receptions, 123 yards, and that touchdown. We went a stretch where we scored 2 touchdowns in a matter of 9 seconds, which is absolutely insane. And right after that long touchdown was that called back interception. It was a drop. That is per the rules.
We have to complete the catch. That's the same. That's the Dez rule right there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the catch. It's like the ground can cause a non-catch, but the ground can't cause a fumble, because that play to me is the same thing as the running back. Say a running back's running and he gets hit in the leg and he falls over and his elbow hits and the ball comes loose, right? It can't cause a fumble. But it can cause an incompletion. And it was just like, that's where the rules kind of get a little messy, in my opinion. They kind of overlap each other. And that's kind of a discussion that they need to have. Like
okay. So this is my response to that. Is that's a football move is the difference there. When a running back is, say, like diving for an extra yard or diving for the goal line or just falling down, like say like with an ankle tackle and he's falling down, he's been in the process of making a football move. He's already been running and moving. Whereas when Savage is coming down from attempting a catch and then the ball hits the ground, that's the lack of a football move would be my answer to your question.
I mean, you're probably not wrong, but tell me that a running back just running, say a running back breaks a run for 15 yards and he gets tackled by the legs and he falls and he fumbles. Tell me that's any different than Savage recognizing a play, reading the play, running over to get in front of the receiver, and then diving in front of him, falling to the ground. That was an athletic-ass play that he made.
Savage almost had 3 interceptions in this game.
He dropped a couple. The last one was really, really tough for me. But you're going to tell me that the running back just running through a hole is more of a football move than what Darnell Savage did? I don't know. If you bring a couple safeties in here, I think they would disagree with you. But that's just me. It's neither here nor there. The Packers didn't make any stops in this game. With that being said, my third star was Aaron Rodgers. Second half, man, he was absolutely on fire. He took this game over. He noticed the trend of the game changing. The defense wasn't getting any stops, and he was just like, okay. Fractured toe that he decided to shove in everybody's face today, by the way. If you didn't see that, watch that. Fractured toe and all, I'm going to have to do something, baby. And he was doing stuff. He was flinging. He looked like old Aaron Rodgers. Last week we talked about, the offense getting back on track. And we talked about the confidence that we have in the defense now. Defense is a little banged up. We'll talk about their game plan. I think that's going to happen for the Rams. And the offense getting on track. I think this is good. This game was good for us overall. Mason Crosby has to figure some shit out. I'm going to say that right now. But Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. It was nice to see the offense put up 31 again.
Okay, so I want to say a couple things. I wanted to look up the Packers injury report because I want to find out if Alan Lazard is practicing, because I was pleased to see MVS using his hands well. He made a couple really nice catches with his hands. This would be like 1,000 IQ play would be for MVS, instead of running that play in for a touchdown, to go out of bounds. This is something that, like, it's a really tough thing to say, to do in the moment. But if MVS had caught that ball and ran out of bounds at, say, like the 10-yard line or something, and the Packers could have bled the clock to not give Minnesota another possession, that would have been like 1,000 IQ play. I'm not saying that MVS was an unintelligent play, because, you have the ball in a wide open field, your instinct is to score. And the Packers almost pulled it off to have an interception to go and win the game, but it unfortunately left Minnesota with a little over 2 minutes to go and score to win the game. So I don't think you can make that call in the moment, but looking back at it, you think, should the Packers have not scored right away? It's a really, really tough thing to try to think about, but it is something I thought was worth bringing up, was did they score too soon?
I actually have a rebuttal for that. I have two things. One, that was one of the only plays they didn't play shell defense. They played man. That's the first moment they fucked up. Okay? MBS is fast. Real fast.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Rodgers was on fire second half. He put that baby in the breadbasket.
Yep.
Rodgers was dotting all Sunday afternoon. Here's the things that I wrote down. I wrote down time of possession, total plays, and third down. Time of possession, they barely beat us. It was 28 minutes and 59 seconds to 31 minutes and 1 second. All came down to that last possession that you're talking about. Total plays, they ran 66 to our 54. And third down conversions, Packers were 7 of 11, and the Vikings were 9 of 13. We could not get them off the field. That's terrible.
We gave them a bunch of conversions with penalties too, which, oh my God, just irritates me.
I almost wrote down penalties. I almost did, but I was like, I'm not going to write down penalties because I'm not going to be that guy. There was a couple.
I'm not saying that the penalties cost the Packers the game. I'm saying the Packers hurt themselves by committing those penalties.
In the first half, it sure did look like that because we would have a big play and then it would get called back for a holding. And it happened a couple possessions, 2 or 3 possessions where I'm just like.
Or Savage's first interception that got called back for a roughing the passer.
Yep. And it's.
Or a 45-yard pass interference penalty on 3rd and 2.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Why are you throwing deep on 3rd and 2 and then you get that? That's why people will throw deep on 3rd and long because you can just get a PI. You never know. I mean, it is what it is. This was a winnable game. I'm actually truly not that upset that we lost. I'll just be honest.
It's one of those mid-season losses. I mean, it's kind of like if there's a lull in the NFL season, it's right around this time, especially with the bye week coming up.
Oh my God,
so that's the Packers need a bye week. But something that's encouraging is Aaron Jones practiced today.
I know, dude.
Aaron Jones practiced today.
I know.
That's nuts. So my dad said what I was thinking. You don't want to take points off the board. That's what I was thinking. Was you're not guaranteed to score if you go out of bounds at the 10-yard line. At that point, you're betting on yourself, kind of. So you're not guaranteed to score if you go out of bounds, and then at that point, you're looking at overtime in that situation also. And then you're playing a coin flip basically. So that's, like I said, it's probably not something that you would consider doing, but I mean, it takes the last possession away from Minnesota if you do it, but it's kind of just an unfortunate thing. I want to throw out, this is really weird to say, but give a little credit to Tyler Lancaster. He played well in the run game. He did. He had a couple really nice tackles in the run game. And I mentioned it last week, talking about how I felt better about the Packers linebacking core. Dalvin Cook wasn't really a factor. He really wasn't. I mean, his touchdown that he had was, a 1-inch rushing touchdown?
Yeah.
I mean, the really big deal in this game was Justin Jefferson. And if Jair is healthy, in addition to our pass rushers, like when we play Minnesota at the beginning of January, I fully expect, assuming everybody's healthy, that the Packers just beat the hell out of the Vikings.
Hi. How's it going, guys? Talking about that, Justin Jefferson absolutely murdered us on off coverage. I saw a stat. What he finished with 166, I believe, right?
Something like that.
123 of his receiving yards were off of soft coverage, and soft coverage is determined by 5+ yards of cushion. We just played too much zone, and that's that.
And this is I wrote this down, was that this is a game that Eric Stokes can take all the game tape and say, here's why you can learn from this game. He got caught in no man's land a couple times. It happened on one of Jefferson's really big plays where Thielen and Jefferson both went the same way, and Stokes got caught like right here, right in between. He wasn't close enough to Thielen. He wasn't close enough to Jefferson, and Cousins just put it right over the top of him, right to Jefferson for like a 45-yard gain.
The Packers play a little bit of a match zone, right? So if you make the rookie use his eyes, and at that NFL speed, it's going to be tough for him. He's got to know in that situation, and he'll learn. He seems like a smart guy, good head on his shoulders. He'll understand that he has to take deep leverage. If Thielen catches that pass, fine. You give up a 10, 15-yard pass.
Yep. You give up 15,
than a freaking 55-yard pass that's almost turned into a touchdown. Yep. If it wasn't for Adrian Amos's amazing effort on that play, Stokes would have given up a touchdown on that play. But they basically just ran levels. That's all that is. You have run one guy underneath, run a guy over the top. You make the rookie make a decision, right? He just had to use his eyes, and he wasn't able to process that stuff fast enough. Next year, though, try that shit on my boy. He's got that speed, baby. He'll be able to,
dude, he's not even bad this year. He's had 2 bad games this entire season.
I wouldn't even say bad games. I think he just has some bad moments, really. He still makes plays.
That's fair.
He still makes plays in the games where he's technically bad. But what do you expect? We're throwing this guy into the number 1 cornerback role as a rookie. Like,
Yeah,
that's not easy in the NFL. It's a pass.
Especially when you consider some of the receivers that he's gone against. Obviously he just played against Thielen and Jefferson, but I mean, you look at the Bengals trio of wide receivers, you look at the Steelers wide receivers, you look at Scary Terry. I mean,
good wide receivers, man.
You could throw Allen Robinson into that mix. I mean,
maybe not. He runs like negative 5 miles per hour for the Bears because he hates Matt Nagy.
I mean, I understand.
That's a whole drama in itself, man. Holy crap.
The Packers have played against some good wide receivers. I mean, Deebo Samuel with the 49ers, aside from 2 really, really touchy pass interference calls, Eric Stokes was really good in that game. I mean,
did you mention the Seahawks yet? DK?
The Seahawks, yes. That game, that's the cherry on top, is Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf combining for 6 for 46? 6 for 56?
Terrible. They were terrible. That's all I know.
I think he was targeted 4 times in that game and gave up 0 receptions.
Yeah, he was the man.
Yeah. So looking at the Badgers are down 7, about 15 minutes left in the second half. So that's what that is at. But do you want to talk about anything else with this Packers Vikings game? I mean, the last thing that I want to mention is A.J. Dillon. I saw a lot of people complaining, the Vikings have a terrible rushing defense. Why didn't we run the ball more than 11 times? First of all, obviously no Aaron Jones. That's part of it. Second of all, Aaron Rodgers was dealing, so there's that. And third of all, A.J. Dillon, yes, he only had 11 carries, but A.J. Dillon also had 6 receptions in this game.
No.
So A.J. Dillon still got 17 touches in this game. That's a pretty healthy number for a running back.
That's pretty good volume, I would say. You give a running back 17 touches, they're going to put up some nice numbers, or at least you hope,
He finished with 97 yards.
It's decent. It's not terrible. You could do a lot worse, in my opinion.
It's a little over 5 yards a touch.
I mean, and you're doing that in a game where 2 wide receivers had over 100 yards and your quarterback had 400 passing yards.
Exactly.
He was the fourth option. He almost had 100 yards. Okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So, A.J. Dillon was still heavily involved in the game, so I'm not terribly worried about the run pass when I have no complaints about the offense, really.
No, me neither. I guess I can't really complain about the defense either. It's just the Packers kind of beat themselves, in my opinion, in this game. The Vikings did make some plays, but I really feel like, with the penalties, like you said.
The penalties, yep.
A couple little things differently here and there, I think the Packers could win that.
And the frustrating thing is, the Vikings ended up being really good at the end of the day on third down. There was a third down early in the game that they defended so well. They defended the third down so well. They forced Kirk Cousins out of the pocket. He was on the run, and then the last option that he had was Adam Thielen, and Oren Burks went and covered that up, so Kirk had nowhere to go with the ball but to throw it away. Oh, they did it. They played that third down so well. And the announcers were giving all the credit to Joe Barry. They're talking about the match zone that you mentioned. It sucked they couldn't maintain that. They couldn't maintain the pass rush. Valiai had a couple nice plays. And to the Packers' credit, something I mentioned last week and the week before is that they're really good at defending plays behind the line of scrimmage. So they're still not giving up big plays on the screens. The rushing defense looks better, especially than it has in past years. But the rushing defense looks good. I mentioned Tyler Lancaster being involved in good rush defense. The front seven is doing everything they can, and the secondary we just need to be healthy.
Yeah,
that's my main thing is I just want the Packers to be healthy.
And the thing that kind of sucks is Garvin just got put on the COVID-19 list. That kind of sucks. So
I saw he didn't practice. I didn't know why.
Yeah, I saw it on. So there's a guy I follow on Instagram. His name is Big Packer, and he literally always has the latest and all the news, and he posted that. So that's probably something that's official, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would expect Rodgers not to practice all week. I would be near positive that he doesn't practice today, tomorrow. Maybe he'll be limited on Friday, but I wouldn't expect Rodgers to be practicing a lot. Looking forward to this.
I just found a stat. You want to hear this stat?
Do it.
Aaron Rodgers threw 4 TD passes in Week 11, making his 9th straight division game with multiple TD passes and no interceptions. No wonder they hate this guy. Just no wonder, man. I mean, it's good news. The Packers could get him. Oh, okay. Here's some. I'm just looking at this guy's story right now. I think the David Bakhtiari news is good news. The Packers could get him and Jair Alexander back in December.
I'm telling you, the week after the bye. That's what I'm telling you. Bakhtiari, Jair, and I'm thinking Aaron Jones the week after the bye.
I mean, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to that game. I'm going to that Bears game. So if we get all those guys back, dude, oh man, I'm gonna be ready to run through a wall, baby. Let's go.
All right, so let's talk about this Sunday. Let's talk about the Packers offense versus the Rams defense. We know, I mean, it's a pretty similar Rams defense to what they played in the playoffs last year, and then they added Von Miller. So let's talk about the Packers offense versus the Rams defense and what you're looking for in that. The Badgers just cut St. Mary's lead to 2, by the way. So the Badgers are only down 2.
There we go. So we're going to talk about Von Miller. We have to mention about him getting absolutely thrown around by George Kittle. Holy cow, dude. Did you see that play?
I did not.
Dude, George Kittle took him at least 3-4 yards. It was a stretch run to the left. Just manhandles this guy. Just holding him right here. He's not going nowhere. He looks like a little kid. No. Just right here, dude. And lays him on his ass, man. Holy camole. I was like, holy shit. Von Miller? That was Von Miller. He just did that too. Dude, George Kittle's a bad man. The Los Angeles Rams, very talented. I'm going to say this right now. They are finesse. They remind me of old Packers teams. This Packers team is different because they're physical up front. They're physical at point of attack.
That's why they've had no choice but to be physical in the absence of guys being injured. So,
yeah, you got guys. That's something that kind of could be playing to our benefit too. Is we got guys that could be trying to play for bigger paydays, bigger roles. Like these guys are hungry. They're trying to take somebody's next meal. You know what I mean? That's what the NFL is all about. Like, I'm gonna come take your job now. That's what it is, man. So right now, I was looking at all the stats. I went through the Rams last couple of games. I looked at the weather, the over/under, everything. I'm looking at everything, and it's just tough for me to not think that there's a way that the Packers lose this game. That's really how I feel. That's not my heart talking. That's not my gut. That's just me looking at everything, digesting everything, and that's what I came out with. The 49ers bullied the Los Angeles Rams. They ran for 156 yards. They ran the ball 44 times. The Rams they're just not built for this outside football, man. That's really how I feel. It's going to be an awkward Sunday at my house because my father-in-law is a big Rams fan. So he walks by every once in a while and he makes his little comments and he says, "Oh, it's going to be really bad when the Rams win on Sunday." And I'm like, it ain't going to happen, man. Not in Rodgers' house, baby. I just don't see a way where the Rams win. You basically just keep this thing close, and you wait for Matthew Stafford to give you the ball back twice, and one of them is going to go back for a touchdown because that's just what happens.
Chandon Sullivan, pick 6 this week. Let's do it.
He's the last one to get one, I believe. I don't remember the last person to have a pick 6 for us. Was it Sullivan a couple years ago in week 2?
I think it was 2 weeks. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it was against Stafford. So.
Oh my God, it was the Lions.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, I got Jake. Welcome. That's why I said Chandon Sullivan.
Oh my God, that'd be crazy. I'll give my weather and score prediction in a little bit, but to have the Packers only favored by 1 point right now is absolutely criminal in my opinion. But we'll get to there later.
All right, so if I'm looking at the Rams defense, I'm looking at Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Those are the 2 guys I'm looking at. Honestly, you mentioned already what George Kittle did to Von Miller. For me, the Packers are doing – it sucks losing Elton Jenkins, but Josh Nijman in the couple games that Jenkins missed earlier this year actually played pretty well.
Yeah.
The Packers offensive line, I think, has a reputation for playing well when guys are hurt. I'm not terribly concerned about Von Miller.
No.
What I'm looking for the Packers is to spread the ball around, use the run to set up the pass instead of vice versa. Let A.J. Dillon wear their defense down a little bit. So I would expect A.J. Dillon to have more than 11 carries, especially after watching last week's game where the 49ers showed you the blueprint for how to beat the Rams is to wear them down. And we have Aaron Rodgers instead of Jimmy G. So there's that.
Jimmy G was going crazy on them too.
So, I mean, the Packers, to me, I don't even consider Jalen Ramsey as canceling out Davonte Adams because Davonte torched him in the playoffs last year. Alan Lazard torched Jalen Ramsey last year for a 58-yard touchdown. So if MVS can get any sort of release and just hit a couple of those deep balls, Rodgers showed a very willingness to throw them last week. I think he took like 4 deep shots in like the first quarter last week. So if you can hit on just one of those, the Rams are going to have to back up, and their front seven isn't going to be as effective. So just a couple. If you hit one deep shot early, that's going to make the Rams kind of have to play on their heels a little bit. And then you use A.J. Dillon to just push them down. Looking at the Rams offense, there's playmakers. They have a lot of playmakers in the receiving game. You put Eric Stokes on Cooper Kupp, and you put whoever you want on OBJ. He still seems kind of like he's playing the diva, frustrated receiver role. Like he hasn't grown out of that from how he was in Cleveland.
He's a 99 overall at that.
So, I mean, don't discount OBJ, but he hasn't shown me anything this season that makes me afraid of him.
I'd agree with that.
And then, the Rams are kind of a timeshare at running back. They don't have Cam Akers, their lead back. Darrell Henderson is solid. Just kind of do what you do on defense. I trust Joe Barry to have a good game plan for this. And like you said, Matthew Stafford, he's a turnover-prone guy in his career. So just clean up the penalties is really my key for the Packers defense. And that's what I want, is to clean up the penalties is really what I want. And health.
Yeah, I would love to get through this game healthy. I would say let's give if you give, you talked about A.J. Dillon's touches last week. He had 17 touches. If you keep A.J. Dillon around that in the receiving game and in the rushing game, I think that's going to be a good recipe for the Packers. Kind of keep them on their toes a little bit.
I got to say, I really love A.J. Dillon getting work in the passing game because nobody wants to touch him.
Dude, he made
everybody wants to arm tackle him or like tackle him by his legs. Nobody wants to go up against A.J. Dillon.
Okay.
You get A.J. Dillon out in space on like a third or fourth read where you're just checking it down to him. You're putting somebody in a position to be about to be run over.
Yeah, man. That's and on top of that, you got a finesse Rams team that I already mentioned. You got them coming off a bye, so they didn't have really much contact in the last week. And you got to come in. It's going to be pretty damn cold in Green Bay.
Yeah, I think I saw the high. I almost stole your segment. But yeah, I'll let you talk about the weather and then give a score prediction.
Yeah, so here we go. Jake Burgundy back in the building. This Jake Burgundy is going to be really good for one of our buddies, Isaac, because he's actually going to be at the game, his first ever game at Lambeau. So that's very exciting. I keep telling him all the good breakfast spots, but I told him the person that's going to eat the most on that day is going to be Aaron Rodgers. So with that being said, the weather is going to be 38 degrees. Real feel, it's going to feel like 27 degrees. Northwest winds at 15 miles per hour. So you're taking 27 degrees with 15-mile-an-hour winds. And wind gusts are going to average between 20 and 22 miles per hour in the stadium. So that's going to be pretty crazy. And if you remember us talking a couple of weeks ago, Rodgers talked about, the wind in the stadium, how that affects it. I think we're about to get a heavy dose of A.J. Dillon running over some Los Angeles Rams linebackers who I have no idea who the hell they are. They got all these stars all over the place. I have no idea one middle linebacker on the Rams. I just know he's a white guy. That's all I know. That's literally the only thing that I know.
My dad made a parallel that we've talked about previously is A.J. Dillon to Braylon Allen.
Yeah.
And that's what I said last week. If you get Braylon Allen going in the receiving game, like, watch out.
Dude, oh, man. Braylon Allen wore down the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I'd say.
He wore them down. That's why he got that long run at the end of the game. But
yep.
Anyway.
All right. Give me your score prediction, and then we'll talk about Braylon Allen.
Score prediction. So, I looked at their last 2 games. They lost 28-16 to the Titans. And if you looked at the stats of those games, the Rams literally blew them out of the water in every stat. It was crazy. Everything was even in the stats except the score. So 28-16 they lost there. The 49ers really beat the piss out of them, dude. They treated them like some little punk kids on their lawn, and they weren't supposed to be on their lawn. 31-10. They smacked those boys around. So 59-26 in the last 2 games that they played. I got Green Bay 34-17, baby. I gave him 17 and giving him a garbage touchdown.
For me, I think it's a little bit closer. I respect the Rams offense. Cooper Kupp he's nuts. And Matthew Stafford is going to throw the ball probably 40, 45 times. I would expect him to throw that much. I mean, after watching Kirk Cousins succeed in the passing game, and LA doesn't have a Dalvin Cook in their backfield that they need to give touches. So Matthew Stafford's probably going to throw the ball a lot. A little bit closer for me. I'm going to say 31-24 Packers.
Okay. Dude, the Rams have 0 running game. So the Packers being good against the run and the Rams' inability to run the ball, that is just asking for Stafford to throw 2 interceptions.
For me, if the Packers can generate any sort of pass rush, I could see this being a double-digit win. I'm going to keep it at a touchdown at 7 points. But if the Packers generate any sort of pass rush, it's really over for the Rams because they don't use their running game to set up their passing game. They're just like, yeah, we have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and we had Robert Woods and OBJ, so we're just going to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, the Rams rely a lot on McVay's ability to creatively, get these guys open instead of using the traditional run to open up the pass kind of deal. And McVay's very good at it, but people are going to catch on eventually, man.
So I'm going to make this comparison is take the game plan from Seattle and do the same thing. Where I mentioned it during the Seattle game that 97% of the plays had 6 or fewer players in the box for the Packers. And they were still able to generate pressure. So if the Packers can keep, 6 guys in the secondary and, play with more DBs on the field and less guys in the box, which they can do against the Rams. Like I said, they don't have a Dalvin Cook. That could be a really big difference maker. So that could be sort of an ideal situation type thing. So, my score prediction could end up being off and could end up being closer to Jake's, which Jake did a good job of predicting that the Badgers and Nebraska were going to be closer. I talked about Nebraska having a trio of good wide receivers, but they were more effective than I thought they would be. The Badgers didn't generate quite their normal pass rush, but they still came away with the win in this game. The messed up thing that came with this game is the Badgers won and moved down 3 spots. They went from 15 to 18 in the playoff poll.
Yeah, I saw that too. Whatever.
So let's talk about the Badgers versus Nebraska.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to talk about Braylon Allen all a bunch, so I'll start in a different direction. Graham Mertz again looked good, man. He was accurate.
No interceptions.
He made his decisions very quickly, and they were the right decisions. That was the key part. Jake Ferguson had a great game, 8 catches, 92 yards. He was Mr. Reliable. Kendrick Pryor, 2 catches, 45 yards. He had that touchdown. Mertz
could have had another one.
Yeah. But Braylon fucking Allen, dude. This kid is a tank. Did you see his interview with Matt Leinart a couple weeks ago after the
I did not.
Game? It was pretty good. He talked about how he has a defensive player mindset, because in high school he played safety his sophomore year, and then he kind of bulked up a little more and he played linebacker, and then he played a little bit of running back. So he said he was like he wasn't sure when he went to college if he was going to be a defensive player. He thought he was going to be a linebacker in college. Especially coming to Wisconsin, we kind of churn out linebackers these last couple of years. He was kind of like, I'll just follow in that line. Well, he has that mindset of see, kill, and he's 240 pounds, and you give him the ball in his hands. And you know what it turned into this last week? 22 carries, 228 yards, and 3 touchdowns. See and kill. That's exactly what he did. He had
a 51 and a 72-yard touchdown?
Dude, that 71-yard run, he looked awesome, dude. He has great extension on the legs. He has good speed. He has good power. Like, this kid literally has it all, man. I mean, he has – this was his 7th straight, at least 100.
Yep, he broke the record, yep. In the first quarter, I think he had it.
Yeah.
The first quarter or the first half?
But the thing about his 7th straight 100-yard rushing game, that's the longest streak in the nation all of a sudden. He has the most consecutive 100-yard rushing games by any running back. So that's impressive in its own right. The Badgers have been winning since he's been getting 100 yards. They're a completely different team. The ball moves. We keep the chains moving. We stay ahead of the chains. We're putting Mertz in better positions to make better throws. Everything is kind of riding on this 6'2", 240-pound, 17-year-old kid. And he's just kind of taking it in stride, dude. It's absolutely incredible to see, man. Like you said, you couldn't say enough good things about Pat. I could talk about Braylon Allen for hours, man. This kid is impressive, man. He averages 8 yards a rush in conference play. That's stupid. That is stupid. Every time you give him the ball, he's getting 8 yards. What the hell is that, man? That's crazy. He averaged 10 yards a rush on Saturday.
He did, yep.
He had 22 carries. Every one of them, he got a first down. That's crazy, man. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit before I start talking about Nebraska after this.
So you mentioned Graham Mertz and Jake Ferguson. Graham Mertz had 12 completions in this game. 8 of them were Jake Ferguson.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it again. I've said it like 4 times. I love the tight end screen that they set up. I love it. That's such a great play call. They ran it out of play action this past week.
I know.
They play action. They faked the handoff to Braylon Allen, and they set up a screenplay for Jake Ferguson, and he ran for like 17 yards.
That was beautiful.
I love the tight end screen, and I love that Paul Chryst keeps using it. I really can't say anything about Braylon Allen that you didn't already say. He looks like Jonathan Taylor and Melvin Gordon and Ron Dane kind of all combined at times. No. I mean, he's running people over, and then last week he jumped over a DB out of a spin. He came out of a spin move, and the next thing he did was jump over a defensive back.
That's absolutely insane, dude. He's just
if he plays all 4 years, he's got like record potential. It's really early because he's a 17-year-old freshman, but
he'll be in the Heisman talk next year.
Yeah. So a couple things. There was 2 really bad penalties that happened in this game. One was a missed face mask. Braylon Allen got his ear hole grabbed early, and that led to the missed field goal. So the Packers missed a field goal, and so did the Badgers.
They did. The Packers did miss a field goal.
Yeah. So the missed face mask led to the missed field goal, and then the pass interference at the end of the game. That, to me, that ball was nowhere near catchable. That ball was like 5 yards out of bounds.
Okay, first of all, I don't know if Shaquille O'Neal in his prime is jumping up and catching that.
I don't know if Sean Kemp in his prime is jumping up and catching that.
Dude, that shit was high as hell. How the hell did they call that? And then everybody wants to complain about the one that they didn't call at the end of the game. And I'm like, it's a makeup call. They owed us one anyway.
That was annoying. My dad asked me to find the youngest player to reach 1,000 yards in a college football season. I couldn't find it. Stat News didn't even have it. The only thing I could find was the youngest players to reach 1,000 yards in the NFL. And Jonathan Taylor is among them. So Wisconsin, still there. Jonathan Taylor, by the way, he had 5 touchdowns on Sunday?
Dude, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin is looking real good right now. Real good.
But yeah, I couldn't find it anywhere for the youngest player in NCAA history.
It's got to be Allen. It's got to be.
I would think so too. The only other one I could find even remotely close was a 19-year-old. So obviously Braylon Allen would beat that by like 2 years or a year and 10 months and some days. But
Yeah, he's got 1,000.
I'll see if I can find it. I'll look around more and see if I can find the youngest 1,000-yard rusher in college history. I would be fairly certain it's Braylon Allen. But the defense, like I mentioned, they didn't have their normal pass rush. The big three, Chanel, Sanborn, and Herbig finished with 26 tackles. Colin Wilder had both of the interceptions. And the secondary, I just want to see the secondary close some gaps better. They did good breaking up some passes. They just need to close some gaps. So they just need to be a little faster. Is kind of weird to say, but the secondary has potential. They just, it's Nebraska has good wide receivers. So that's what it is. James, to your comment, St. Mary's is up by 1, and the Badgers have the ball. Jonathan Davis has the ball, and he just cashed a 3. So the Badgers just took the lead.
All good things for us that you just said. All good things.
Yes, and like I said, I posted on the page yesterday that if Jonathan Davis is making threes, watch out.
I just put that back on my phone here. So.
And the Badgers just got to stop, so now they have the ball.
So Tyler,
don't mind me for a second. I'm just watching.
I know I'm gonna see on my phone that Jonathan Davis is gonna hit a 3 right here.
Oh, Chucky finished that.
Man, I
can't Tyler Wall. Badgers are up 4.
Oh shit! I still have them down by 1. They haven't even cashed the first 3-pointer yet. Look at them. Oh, hey,
hurry up and catch up to me. All right, well I'll just keep talking, I guess.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, Pryor made up for the early drop. He did score the touchdown, so there's that. Loving the tight end screens. I gotta keep saying that because it's such a beautiful play. Yeah, Nebraska's tight end. That dude tore it up. He set a freaking receiving record for tight ends for Nebraska.
Yeah, I know.
I mentioned the bad pass interference. I mean, do you have any other things that you want to say besides the Badgers got off to a great start with the kickoff return touchdown?
No, that was fucking crazy, by the way. I almost spilled my...
That was awesome.
I just got a full cup of water, and I set it down, and I started watching the game. I just got home from work, and I stood up, and I kicked the table, and I was like, oh, man, if that would have went all over the carpet, I would have heard about that for about 3 hours. But, hey, that was awesome.
All right, so the Badgers now 7 straight wins, and now they go to defend the Axe, Paul Bunyan's Axe, in their game with Minnesota. They are at Minnesota. So, Jake, what are you looking for in this Badgers versus Minnesota game?
First of all, I'm going to be looking to rip the hearts out of Minnesota fans because of last weekend with the Packers.
Yeah.
I have some interesting stuff about this game, actually. Do you know the quarterback from Minnesota, Tanner Morgan, right? A few years ago in 2019, he looked like the real deal. He had 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
See, I think that was a fluke year for Minnesota, period, because PJ Fleck was getting like, is he going to get an NFL job? Minnesota, they back on the map. I think that was a fluke year for Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, truly it was. But I did a kind of a comparison of Tanner Morgan versus Graham Mertz because I really think that's where the game's going to be won. Both these teams are kind of similar. They play defense, they run the ball, and the quarterbacks are either really, really good or really, really bad. So going back to that year, he had 30 and 7. I added 2020 and 2021's season stats, up to this point before this game combined. He has 16 touchdowns and 12 picks. It's terrible.
I know he's got 9 and 7 this year.
Yeah, he had 7 and 5 last year, so that's where you get to 16 and 12. At home, Tanner Morgan has 840 yards. He has 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So 6 of his 7 interceptions are coming at home. Not very good. Graham Mertz, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks on the road. With that being said, Wisconsin is 3-0 on the road. Minnesota, 3-3 at home. So Minnesota's 50-50. The Badgers are undefeated. Going into this game, the Badgers are favored by 7. The over-under is 39. So it's going to be around there it's not going to be around there. It's going to be around the total points that the Badgers are going to score is what I meant to say. For me, at least, I think the Badgers are going to absolutely destroy these guys. They lost their best player opening night against Ohio State, their running back. He was kind of getting a little bit of secondary Heisman hype. If Minnesota could have done some things in the West, he was getting talked about like that. But Braylon Allen, dude. Braylon Allen, the last 2 games, 47 carries, 401 yards, 6 touchdowns. This man's going to get the ball. He's going to score. There's 2 guys that are going to be looked at to stop him. They're both senior linebackers.
To say hi to Victor from Mexico. That's awesome. I always love seeing it when people comment from other, like, how far away people see us from is awesome.
Okay, Victor. I don't have a lot of Spanish, but hola, ¿cómo estás? That's all I got.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was like a really white dude named Victor? He's like Eastern European and he's just living in Mexico.
Oh, he'd be like, I don't know what that means. Jack, okay, so yeah, let me get back here. Two linebackers that are going to be looked at to stop the train, Braylon Allen, is Jack Gibbons, senior. He has 76 tackles, 44 solo. And Mariano Sori Marin. I just like saying his name like that. It's probably not how you say it, but it sounds cooler that way, so he should say it that way in the future. He has 75 tackles and 40 solo. They're both bigger guys. Yeah, he laughed.
Hey, Lee, he thought it was funny at least. I got that.
This is going to be an ugly game. I'm just going to get right into the weather report because this is a Braylon Allen game, dude. Wait till you hear this weather report, dude. This sounds like Wisconsin and Minnesota. Rather cloudy with a little snow, sleet and freezing rain mixed in early in the day. 40 degrees, 82% chance of participation.
You mean precipitation?
Like? Precipitation. That sounds
You said participation. I anticipate 100% participation.
Me too. That sounds like Braylon Allen's going to get the ball a whole hell of a lot. He had 22 last week, 25 the week before. 25 is definitely the over-under for me on the carries that he's going to get. And the Badgers are just going to run all over these guys. This game's at 3 o'clock, by the way, on Fox, if anybody's wondering. I'm going to let Tyler say his little stats, and I'm going to watch as Davis just hits a little float runner in the lane, and the Badgers are back up by 4.
All right, I'm a little bit ahead of you on that. So once we get to Badgers basketball, I'll be ahead of you. But for me, looking at this game for the Badgers, I want to see the Badgers control the time of possession. Minnesota averages 35 minutes per game of time of possession. So I want to see the Badgers take control of that and let the Badgers dictate the pace of this game. Like Jake's talking about the running game, that's how the Badgers are going to dictate the pace. If Graham Mertz throws the ball more than 18 times like he did last week, I'd be shocked. I would see him probably in that 15 to 18 range for passes again, especially with bad weather. Probably not going to be taking many, if any, downfield shots. If so, it'd just be in a play action situation, maybe just to make Minnesota just respect it. As far as the passing game goes, it's going to be more Jake Ferguson because he's the man. As for Minnesota's defense, I don't really see anything that says that they can stop the Badgers in any way. Especially with as effective as the Badgers have been the last 7 games, the offensive line being better. Just flipping it over to Minnesota's offense, they average about 25 points a game. They don't blow anybody out with the pass rush or with the passing offense, and their rushing offense is solid. That's definitely their strength, similar to the Badgers, but the Badgers are a damn good rushing defense. So I think that plays into the Badgers' strength. Their leading wide receiver only has 29 catches.
Yep.
So the way that Nebraska was able to exploit the Badgers is not the way that Minnesota is going to be able to. They don't have receivers like Nebraska does.
Or a quarterback.
True. And their lead receiver has 29 catches. They don't have a single other receiver over 20.
Yeah.
And they do convert 45% of their third downs, though. So that's something the Badgers just need to contain the run like they do. That's their thing. And just get off the field on third down. So that being said, my score prediction is 35-24. It's going to be ugly, and I could see this being a much lower scoring game, but I could also see this being a game where it just ends up being a lot of rushing yards packed on top of rushing yards on top of rushing yards, and we'll see what happens. But for me, I'm going to go with 35-24 Badgers.
So if you don't know, if the Badgers win this game, they win the Big Ten West, and they'll go on and they'll play either Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. If the Badgers lose and Iowa wins, Iowa would win the Big Ten West and play either Ohio State or Michigan. With that being said, I have the Badgers winning 38-13. I think we're going to pound them. So I wanted to ask Tyler a question. Who would you rather play, Ohio State or Michigan, in the Big Ten championship game?
So Jake posed this question to me, and I could see the appeal for wanting to do one or the other. For me personally, I would rather play Ohio State. I'd like to go and see how they can do against the guy who's going to be an NFL quarterback and C.J. Stroud, just to see what they can do against him. I would rather see the Badgers beat Ohio State, somebody that they don't play as often. They lost to Michigan this year after just smacking them around last year. So I'd like to see the Badgers beat Ohio State just because the game itself doesn't happen as often. And I'd like to get a little beat down over Ohio State, who always steals the national spotlight as far as the Big Ten is concerned.
So I do agree with you. I would rather play Ohio State. I would love the revenge aspect of playing Michigan, especially if Michigan beats Ohio State. Imagine the just absolute turmoil that would happen if Wisconsin would beat Michigan after they beat Ohio State. That would absolutely create chaos, right? But then if say we go against an Ohio State and they beat an Ohio State team, there's no way in hell that they can deny us a New Year's Six bowl. There's no way in hell. The Badgers will be playing a New Year's Six bowl, a primetime bowl, and that can only do good things for us. You mentioned how Stroud's going to be an NFL quarterback. They got a couple wide receivers that are going to be in the NFL as well.
Yeah, they do.
They got a lot of NFL talent on that team. That was a massive shot. I know you're ahead of me, but holy shit.
Yeah, Tyler Wallace. He just had like a little dream shake on that.
Bro. So, that being said, I think I'd rather play Ohio State too. Let's switch to Badgers basketball since it's a hot topic right now. We're at the end of the game here. I'm going to switch over to my Badgers notes real quick.
All right, so let's just kind of run through these games while we have time, and we'll keep live updating the end of this game. Damn, that was a nice – he hit that right shoulder, came back to the left, little dream shake. That was nice. Badgers opened up the season against St. Francis. They won 81-58. Like I said, the Badgers, when we did the primer, I expect the Badgers to get off to a kind of a hot start, like a 6-1, 7-1 type start. They did get a nice signature win yesterday against Houston, but looking at St. Francis, they had an 11-point lead with 9:17 left in the first half, and then led by double digits for the rest of the game. Johnny Davis, 15 points, 5 assists. Chucky Hepburn, 13 points. He's the first true freshman to start at point guard since Devin Harris in 2001.
That is crazy. We used to love Devin Harris when we were little kids, dude.
He was one of the first, he's like one of the first Badgers that I remember going to the NBA when I started paying attention.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Bauman had 9 points. Badgers were 10 of 22 on threes. That's something that could really be a big deal for their season, as if they can make those threes. So, you don't want to say anything about that St. Francis game besides Johnny Davis's nasty dunk that he had?
No. I'm only going to comment.
Like the Badgers are about to wrap this one up.
Yeah. Nothing really. Games against people like St. Francis, I expect the Badgers to win those games.
Yep. Same with, UWGB.
Yeah. They smacked around UWGB. It is what it is. Oh, by the way, this is kind of on topic, I guess. Vin Baker, coach for the Bucks. Did you know that his son plays for Milwaukee as well?
Sweet.
Yeah, Vin Baker Jr. He's on the Milwaukee Panthers. So they might actually, because they got
they have a 5-star recruit there, don't they?
Yeah, because his dad is the coach.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a fucking play! Tyler Wall, dude, that guy.
Yeah. Tyler Wall just got a rebound and now he's shooting free throws.
Dude, everything that Johnny Davis is, Tyler Wall could end up being this team's MVP. Seriously,
dude, I love Tyler Wall. He came on last year, like midway through the year, and I loved Tyler Wall.
Dude, Tyler Wall and Chucky Hepburn. This is how I really feel. Those are two guys that are going to be very, very important to this Badgers team success. You know what you're going to get with Davis. I mean, he's a scorer.
Same with Davison.
Davison is what he is. He's tough as nails. And when he hits his three-pointers, he's a damn good player. He
irritated me a little bit in the Texas A&M game.
Yeah, me too.
Or no, not Texas A&M. It was the Providence game.
Because he was good against
Davison A&M. Irritated me.
He had 19 against A&M. He was big for us.
He had 25 against Providence too, but he was 3 for 11 on threes, and all 3 that he made were in the first half. And he checked out several times. He didn't go for rebounds. There was a couple times where he was the last player back in transition, which irritates me when you're a grinded out defensive team. You need to be back on defense before the other team gets a fast break. So seeing Brad Davison being the last one back in transition, that irritates me. Yeah, I mentioned that last year at times where he would check out when he wasn't shooting well, and then towards the end of the season, he started picking that back up, where even when he wasn't shooting well, he was playing tough defense, he was going for rebounds, he was diving on the floor, that stuff. That's the Brad Davison that I want to see. Is he has his good shooting nights, and he has nights where he can score, but he has nights where he's not scoring at an efficient clip, and then he checks out. I want to see Brad Davison stay involved in games.
I think being on this year's team with all the young players, because last year, man, Bayless hit on it last night when I was listening to the game. I was at work. He said that was about as old as you're going to find a college basketball team last year for the Badgers. And now this year, with how young they are, man, you could tell they're young in some situations, but they're pretty well coached. I like Gard as a coach, and they still have players that have been around winning and winning situations that understand how to win. So this team is scrappy, man. I like this team. If they can learn how to consistently shoot, they make the free throws. I'll say that for one. But if they can learn how to consistently shoot,
Chucky Hepburn knocks down 2 of them.
Dude, they make their free throws. They do. They're good free throw shooters. Freaking Johnny Davis, dude. That guy is legitimately a 3-level scorer. I freaking love that guy.
Dude, he is. He is. That's a really good point.
He can hit the mid-range. He can hit the 3. He hits free throws. He hits turnaround middies. This guy is going to be something, man.
Dude, like I said, the Badgers won.
Hey, I told you.
Take off.
Like tattoo, baby.
Dude, so now I have this stat here. The Bucks, damn it. The Badgers are now 26-12 in non-conference November tournament games.
Oh.
They've been doing the Maui Invitational for a couple of years now, but obviously now they're the Maui Invitational champs. Now they're 26-12 in the non-conference games. And like I said yesterday, like last night, they got that signature win against Houston. So that's a resume builder as far as seeding goes. We talked about the Badgers maybe being like an 8, 9, 10 seed. They're off to a hot start. So, I mean, you can't say enough good things about guys like Tyler Wall and Johnny Davis, he's doing everything. He just needs to stay aggressive at times. It happened last night and a couple times today where he was settling for some contested jump shots. And those just aren't high percentage shots, and they're not good shots. You don't want to be taking, if you're this far away from the 3-point line, you might as well just take that other half a step back and shoot a 3.
Sam Decker style, back up into a 3-pointer. Dude, he did that all the time in college, I swear.
I mean, you might as well. I mean, if you're going to shoot a 17.5-footer, you might as well just make it an 18-footer and make it a 3-pointer.
I mean, you're not wrong. get yourself that extra point.
Yeah, I mean, you're at least shooting for something.
Efficiency.
Right. So, looking at the GB game, Crowell hit a couple threes in that game, so like he's kind of given the Badgers their big man that can shoot. We're gonna welcome our buddy Mike in, who joined us when we did our Badgers primer, to give us some more updates in here. But yeah, I know he's excited the Badgers won.
I'm pumped.
Mike, we're just talking through the Badgers' first 5 games and now today's game. I don't know if you want to jump in as far as the Green Bay game is concerned and stuff that you're seeing so far early this season. If there's anything you want to mention in specific games, or if you just want to talk about them as a whole. But we're just talking about the Badgers' season thus far.
I mean, yeah, so far. So I said this last time I was on. I'm going in with a total open mind. Like when the season starts, we hardly have seen any of these dudes play some like solid minutes all year. So, I mean, so far, I mean, even besides like these last couple games, I like what I see. It's a completely different team, different kind of style, even in my view, from what we've run in years past. The swing offense, we have been running it. But I feel like we've been getting much better quality shots overall too. I mean, Jake, I mentioned this in our group chat a couple days ago. You're not seeing like some of the shots that we take nowadays. We're not waiting until the last few seconds on the shot clock to put some garbage jump shot up with, Demetric Trice, great player. But, we were so accustomed to, seeing that over and over and over again. Whereas now we're getting very good quality shots, during the middle of the shot clock too, not worrying about like timing or anything like that. Like we're more of an up-tempo team, I feel like, even with this swing offense with the guys that we have. And it's just very, very fun to watch in my view. I mean, we're going to have a lot of growing pains, I still think, this year, but these kids won't quit. And I mean, you guys, saw that in these last 3 games here. It's incredible. I thought even like tonight, for example, like St. Mary's, they had a lot of guys that had a lot of experience, brought up back guys from their tournament team. I thought they were just kind of senior led. I thought they were going to like hold on to it. But, this team also has different guys that did step up tonight besides Johnny Davis, Tyler Wall, for example. He was one tough son.
Dude, he's one of the show favorites, Tyler Wall.
He has got a stretch cojones.
Oh my goodness.
He had a stretch last night. He scored 9 straight points for the Badgers. He had 9 points total. He all came consecutively last night.
I tell you what, he was the reason why we stayed in that game against Houston in the second half. And he's the reason why we won tonight, I feel like. I mean, yeah, it's Johnny. I mean, he dropped 30 last night and he dropped 20 tonight.
Yep.
But, we don't win those games without Tyler Wall.
Absolutely.
When a guy like Brad, for example, Brad Davison, he did struggle tonight. I feel like he hit like maybe 1-3 and maybe one other bucket. But, they gave the ball to Wall plenty of times in the second half to step up. And he was clearly our second best scorer, in my view, these last few games. And, he's definitely come a long way too offensively, man. And even free throws, like I don't say I cringe when I see him at the free throw line. I used to, but yesterday and even tonight, like he was knocking them down like at ease. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so proud of him. He's definitely come a long way. I would say he's the biggest. I mean, Johnny, he's going to be all conference, first team all Big Ten. But Tyler Walls, I've been the most impressed with besides Johnny so far, for sure.
I got 2 things for you.
Yeah.
One, I just said before you came on that Johnny Davis is, he's the guy that's going to score. He's the star, exactly what you said. But Tyler Wall can end up being the guy that could be the team MVP. Like, he switches all the time on defense. He seems to get all the big rebounds. And
dude, he works hard. He works hard. He works really hard in the paint on both ends of the floor.
Guys too.
Dude, he's almost unguardable on offense in the paint. Like he's got an array of moves that he breaks out, and he got fouled.
Dude, I was listening to one of the games. I think it was on Monday. That he's using his left hand more effectively this year too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing a lot.
He's very much improved. the thing that I wanted to say about the offense, because I like when guests come on here and they make me think of different things, and then it just kind of flows, right? I guess the juice is flowing. Do you remember when the Packers moved on from McCarthy?
Yeah.
You know, our offense looked so stagnant with Aaron freaking Rodgers. Unbelievably stagnant. It was crazy because you knew what we were going to run. It's the same thing with the Badgers. When they're a well-oiled machine and everything and the timing, like you said, is all correct, we can be unstoppable when we're making all our shots and being in the right place, right time. Yeah. Now I feel like we've upgraded this offense. We're up to date with offense. We're doing a little bit of extra stuff, something that is really, really a big change. I mean, like you said, Trice is a great player, but he couldn't consistently get to the rim and finish at the rate that you would like. Johnny Davis can do that. That kind of gives us
Chucky Hepburn can do that a little bit.
Correct. Dude, I fucking love Chucky Hepburn, dude. He seems like that annoying guy that you love on your team.
I love him.
Go piss that guy off, and he'll just do it, you know? He's kind of like I don't want to
Patrick Beverly.
I didn't want to compare him to Beverly, but he kind of is like Beverly in my opinion, where he's just like, yeah, go guard him and like shut him up for like 40 minutes, and then we'll be good. He's that guy. He's going to be big in the tournament, I think.
Oh, most definitely. There's so many guys that like I actually do like on this team. I mean, and like the potential, like Chucky's going to be great for us. I have no doubt about it. I think you give him another year to develop like his scoring too. He has no problem shooting the three either if need be. Like he has no problem pulling up. And another guy too. I mean, his backup tonight, Lauren Bowman. He had 5 like a stretch where he had 5 points like, and we were like hurting at the time too. We needed to get a bucket from somebody, and someone like that. Lauren Bowman. He stepped up tonight.
I'm kind of hoping he can turn into. I'm kind of hoping Bowman can turn into like a 3-point specialist for this team. That's something that they're gonna struggle with at times, is 3-point shooting. So I'm kind of hoping Bowman can kind of be that guy, and recognize a need for this team is going to be consistent, reliable 3-point shooting. And hopefully he can be that guy. That's why I'm saying it when we talk about Johnny Davis, is if he's knocking down threes consistently, like watch out. Because that's one of the things that the Badgers are going to struggle with this year is finding consistent, reliable 3-point shooting.
Exactly. And I think that's going to be one of those growing pains that we are going to deal with this year. I mean, when we're going to play at spots like, Purdue, Michigan State with like the crowds and stuff, it will happen. I mean, we just had a heck of a stretch here, but I still don't think we're quite up there in terms of like our outside shooting overall. It is what it is.
Especially with Davison shooting like 3 for 11 all the time.
But I tell you what, we are at least getting good quality shots versus last year, waiting until the last few seconds of the shot clock. We are getting good shots. That's why that's why we're winning games so far. I feel like this year tonight we did end up getting more shots than St. Mary's, who is identical to Wisconsin, I think, in so many ways. But I think we won the we won the turnover battle tonight. That was huge, and we also got more shots up. I don't think the percentage was as good as St. Mary's, but we were able to generate better shots in the second half collectively, and I think that's two of the biggest points why we won the game. So. No, I love this team. Shots can literally come from anywhere. Johnny, he's going to lead the ship, but none of those guys, I think for the most part. Crowell, I would like to see his confidence go up a little bit, but he has no problem, at times shooting the 3 too.
I'd like to see Crowell do a little bit more work on defense. We talked about it. Jake mentioned the Crowell. He gets into some foul trouble. I want to see him defending less with his hand. He needs to do more of the forearm. He's always got the hand out, and he gets into trouble with like the hand checking thing. It's not. Yeah, he needs to do a little bit more of the forearm and not so much with the hand.
Yeah, I think it's just a lack of foot speed, personally.
In size too. I think we're gonna run into trouble a lot this year with like the size that we have in the team. I mean, right now you see if Crowell gets in foul trouble, who comes in? Chris Vogt. Chris Vogt can't stay in the game for more than 3-4 minutes because he picks up 2 quick fouls. So,
and he just gets.
We have to be way more disciplined. We have a lot of correcting to do in that area. I feel like if we're gonna do something in the Big Ten this year, because
if the Badgers can get into a position, whether it be in the Big Ten or in the in the March Madness tournament, where they play a team that doesn't have a dominant big man, and they can run Tyler Wall at the center.
Mm-hmm.
this Badgers team could make some noise. And that's going to be something we're going to have to look at with matchups when they come. But if they can, have, Chucky and Bauman and then Davison and Tyler Wall on the floor at the same time and kind of run some small ball with Tyler Wall, the center at 6'9", that could be that lineup could do some damage against some other teams.
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. I mean, I definitely did not see us winning the freaking Maui Invitational. And, just looking back, even at going back to that Providence game, I mean, we have Johnny Davis. We win that game,
Yeah.
In my view, I mean, people can say what they want about that. But
I mean, they won the second half, too. They were down 11 at halftime and only lost that game by 5.
Yeah, and I was so disappointed when Johnny was out that night. I'm like the air was out of the room at the time. I'm like, well, we're going to save him for the Maui Invitational. I'm like, okay.
Crowell struggled big time in that game, too.
And then he was right. I mean, Johnny, they averages 25 in the Maui Invitational per game. So, no, I'm ecstatic. I mean, this is probably the best case scenario that I could have hoped for at the start of the year. And, I love this team. We just got to come ready to play upcoming here. We got Marquette, I think, next weekend. I don't know if we have a game before that, but that's going to be a big one at home against them at the Colts.
They are off until December 1st, so they're off till next Wednesday.
Okay, I don't know off the top of my head who they have in the first, but Marquette's next Saturday, and that's obviously a big one that we need to get back from last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mentioned it before. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jake.
I want to switch to football just for a second because Mikey's the most Wisconsin guy that I know, most Badgers guy that I know. He's more Badgers than he is professional sports. So I asked Tyler this question because I'm assuming you have the Badgers winning at Minnesota on Saturday, correct?
Correct.
I want to know, who would you rather play in the Big Ten championship game, Ohio State or Michigan?
Sure. So first off, I let y'all handle the professional stuff. I definitely know like a fair amount, but I'm like, yeah, my guy Jake's got it, so I'll let him take it from there. So yeah, no problems there. As far as who I would want to play, we've ran into the same old juggernaut Ohio State at the end of the road, and just looking like we saw it last weekend against Nebraska. Teams that spread us out, we do not do good defensively. Ohio State's got 3, in my view, damn near 3 first-round picks at receiver that can literally do anything. So, and we also had, and just going along with the fact that we had a hard time even generating pressure last week with Nebraska's offense. If we couldn't get any pressure on CJ Stroud, it's going to be a long night. Michigan doesn't necessarily spread the ball around as much. I would love a rematch with Michigan personally because offensively we're getting better. Braylon Allen was not a factor last game. I would love a rematch against Michigan, and it's not even close for me. Ohio State has just been had our number for the longest time, and I think we can beat Michigan definitely on our best day. There's no doubt about it. Michigan's a freaking tough team though, so I would love Michigan again.
So Tyler said Ohio State. I also said Ohio State, but the one thing that I posed was I was like, imagine the madness of Michigan beating Ohio State. The country's going crazy, right? Michigan's going to be in, Ohio State's out, and then they run into Wisconsin, and we get them back in the revenge game. Imagine the chaotic mess that would just happen after that.
If that happens, Cincinnati's getting into the college football playoff.
Cincinnati needs to get in regardless, dude. They're undefeated, dude. Come on.
I agree. I think they should. I think Cincinnati.
And they beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's only got 1 loss.
They manhandled Notre Dame at their place.
Yeah, they did. They punched them in the mouth all day.
I'm definitely for Cincinnati getting in. I mean, they even last year they had a great year, and did they beat Georgia last year, or if they didn't, it was a close game. So I mean, they've consistently been good.
I think that might have been their only loss last year.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I mean, their program's been solid last couple of years. I would love to give them a shot because it'll be against Georgia probably. So I wouldn't want to see a rematch of that. So no, I would say Michigan, Ohio State. I look at that Nebraska game last week and I picture I think it could be the same song, different verse when we play a team like Ohio State, who's got more weapons than Nebraska has and just spreads us out. And, Jake, I've said this so many times, if there's one thing that's wrong with our Badgers defense, it's our secondary. there's miscommunication, and I just don't think the athleticism is quite there versus the top two
safeties,
teams.
bro. It's
For me, I think if we're talking Michigan and Ohio State, I feel like Michigan would probably give the Badgers the better chance to win, but I feel like beating Ohio State would be more satisfying.
Oh, it would. There's no there's no argument there. I'm saying if I had to pick a team that I think we have our best shot against, it would be Michigan. But I would love to beat Ohio State, though. No questions asked. And
we're going to be in the game. That's all I know. There should be no way in hell that we lose to Minnesota. Tanner Morgan is terrible, and their rushing attack is decent, but the Badgers' rush defense, like Tyler pointed out, is phenomenal. So,
correct.
As long as Mertz isn't throwing 4 picks and Braylon Allen's toting the rock, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I was even looking at like the stats even like earlier when I was working or whatever on my lunch break, and I was looking to see like Minnesota because I haven't watched too much of them this year. I know Tanner Morgan obviously, but even they're down to their third and fourth string running backs. But even with that, that's how they've been like generating a lot of their offenses through the run game. So, which is hard to believe because Tanner Morgan, in years past has been known to sling the ball pretty well. So, I mean, if they're going to keep running the ball on us, go for it. It's not going to work. Just in my view.
Eventually, you're just going to get sick and tired of running into a wall, right?
You're going to run into Leo. You're going to get a Leo Chanel and Jack Sanborn sandwich if you keep doing that.
And
I don't know about you, strip sack.
I wouldn't like to get hit by Leo Chanel too many times.
Oh no!
Good Christ. He does the curls for the girls. I'll tell you that right now, baby.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Can only imagine how he was in little Grantsburg, Wisconsin, at Grantsburg High School with all 200 kids there.
I would say he was probably like the reverse Derrick Henry, where he had like 17 tackles a game and like 8 sacks. Like 4 forced fumbles in one game.
All 12 girls that were in his class, they all loved him.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that right now.
They had to like quadruple team him.
Oh God! Now we're getting dirty here. So, Badgers basketball, man, off to a great start. Badgers football is on fire. We need the Bucks and the Packers to get healthy, and that's pretty much all you need to know about Wisconsin sports right now.
No, exactly, man. I think the Bucks will get held. I trust them. They'll get it together. I mean,
we talked about it. They're 6-0 with the big 3 healthy. So
I don't think we're necessarily playing for the one seed or anything like that. Right?
They don't care.
Is what it is. Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. Packers, we got to get healthy there too. I mean, Bakhtiari, I think, what was it? He was out. He's now out probably for the next 2 weeks with the bye week. So
that's the week after the bye week is what I'm looking for Jair, Bakhtiari, and Aaron Jones.
There's news about Jair coming back in December, Brood.
Oh man, I hope we're running out of time to, we're kind of like, you can tell we're just kind of like scraping off.
Water.
The barrel.
That's the thing. That's the thing about the depth is at a certain point, it doesn't become depth for one. And two, when you bring guys back, you want them in a couple of games to get their feet wet. We don't want to be bringing them back and right away it's just playoffs. Like, we're playing for the Super Bowl now, so go out there and compete. I know you haven't played in like 6 months, but it's like I want him to have 2-3 games in there so he can get kind of the mistakes out of the way. Same thing with Za'Darius if he ends up finding a way back too,
That's what I was. Tim just commented asking about Za'Darius, and I think to kind of make a comment, it's like Brooke Lopez. Honestly, it's a really similar situation where it's like, well, they're getting back to practice and they'll be back soon. Like, we're keeping an eye on it. He's starting to work back. It's a really, really fluid situation with those two. And, as long as they're doing okay without them, they're not going to rush them back.
Yeah. My biggest concern, I don't know. I kind of thought about this at the beginning of the year with Za'Darius. Like, this is his contract year, correct? I believe.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I personally think he could have handled it better, but I understand like how he did it. Cause I think his number one goal is to try and be healthy, like by the end of the year before he goes into his contract. So I think I hate saying this, but I think he's kind of holding out a little bit just so he can be ready to go, like to get that new contract, I guess. I don't want to accuse, but I don't
Listen,
know.
man,
I
you might not be wrong. I've never thought about that before.
moment.
You might not be wrong.
Yeah.
That could be on.
Yeah, I mean, even if that's the case, I'd like to see him get back just for the end of the year, even if he's just trying to get himself into a contract situation to come back at the end of the year and perform for the last 2 games of the regular season and the playoffs.
And I know he did not like the fact that he was not named one of the captains for this year. You remember that in the beginning of the year? He he brought that up. So I don't know if he was, pardon my language, butthurt about that. But I don't know. I hope that's not the case with us because, obviously the potential on this with this team, this is our best chance to win a championship. So, I mean, why wouldn't you go all in no matter what? But, other players got their own, agendas and views, and we're just fans sitting on the sideline just observing. So whatever goes behind the scenes, obviously we don't know too much about the situation, but we'll go from there.
Yeah, maybe one day when Tyler and I are standing on the Packers sideline, we can give you a little bit more insider, but it's a couple years down the road here. So,
well, hire me if you do, okay?
Oh, hey, we're bringing the whole squad.
Okay.
Tyler, I don't know if you want to touch on that situation. That's up to you.
I would want to read the article before I made a comment about it. As far as the whole Waukesha situation goes, it's a really unfortunate situation as far as sports are concerned with that. I did see JJ Watt was offering to pay for the funerals for those that were killed in that incident. Ian, I will definitely check that article out after the show, and maybe we can talk about it next week to kind of give some more perspective and a little bit more informed perspective on it. So,
I guess I got something to say about it. It's going to be completely blunt because that's how I roll. That guy's a jackass, okay? Pretty blunt. The guy's a jackass for what he did. 80-year-old woman died. There's an 8-year-old kid that died. That puts a lot of shit into perspective for me because I have a 8-year-old stepson upstairs. He's going to turn 9 tomorrow. I don't know what I would do if I found out that I was with my family and some guy was just being an idiot and he ran over and killed my stepson. I think I would go absolutely insane, to be completely honest with you. So I'm just going to say this. Don't be an idiot. Understand your surroundings. I know he just got out of jail on a $1,000 security bond. And he was getting into it with his girlfriend. So as far as that affecting sports in my life, there is a reason I stick to just sports. I don't really get into politics and stuff like that. It can be a dirty game. I just watch my sports. I watch Giannis dunk the ball. I watch Davis shoot mid-rangers, and I watch Aaron Rodgers throw bombs. That's what I like to do because my life is a lot easier that way. I go to work, I hang out with my family, and I talk to my boys. That's how I want to live my life, and stuff like this is happening on a daily basis, and it's absolutely terrible. It's been a really, really rough couple of weeks for the state of Wisconsin, personally. But it is what it is, man. That's all I can really say about it. But let's be kind. Let's be positive. Let's just be nicer to each other overall. Do I like talking shit? Yes, 100%. I especially love talking shit to Chicago fans, but I keep it sports. I never get personal with people, man. I don't know what you're going through in your life. I'm also very big on mental health. So there was something happening with the Minnesota Vikings today with Everson Griffin. And, instead of me, referring back to, talking shit, I just felt terrible for the guy. He's trapped in his own scary world and he can't get out of it without professional help. So he needs to go get professional help. So for me, I take mental health very seriously. I take stuff like this very seriously when people are dying. So that being said, let's just be nice to each other and let's just enjoy the Badgers and sports.
Yeah, Jake, to piggyback on what you're saying, all of what Jake is saying is the exact same reason that we don't cheer for injuries.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do it. I don't care if it's Justin Fields. I don't care if he's got 6 touchdowns against the Packers. Don't cheer for guys to get hurt. It's never okay, really, honestly. It's never okay to cheer for people to get hurt. Because look at Adrian Amos, for example. He came from the Bears to the Packers. That's not to say that something like that can't ever happen. So these guys are just on the teams that they're on. So they're playing for their teams. They're playing for their futures, for their families. Like, these are still people, even though they're wearing the rival uniform. Like, if for me, I'd rather beat the Bears 35-0 than, to see Justin Fields get hurt or to see Kirk Cousins get hurt. Like, it would be funny to see him get sacked and have a bunch of grass stuck in his helmet, but I wouldn't want him to break his collarbone or something, like when Vikings fans cheered for that when Anthony Barr did it to Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, they still post that photo. It's ridiculous. That is the highlight of your fandom, is you breaking my quarterback's bones? Oh my God. Why do you cheer for that? Like, it's still somebody's son, brother, husband. Like, you ever watch these guys post on Instagram and stuff? Like, they're hanging out with their little kids, mini-me kids, Like, Adrian Amos just posted a sweet-ass photo of him and his son just hanging out. They're wearing Jordans, and they're matching, and, he's just being a guy.
Dude, I love the video of Drew Holiday where he's at his post-game show, and he, unzips his sweatshirt, and his kid, pops out.
Yeah, how do you not get excited for that stuff? You know what I mean?
I'm gonna put Michael's comment on here while I respond to Rushman, who's commenting on YouTube. We found a Wisconsin talk show. Hey, that's us. We're Wisconsin Sports. We talk about that. Michael's comment is really hits the nail on the head. He said, sports is a time to get away from the unfortunate world we have to deal with. This is why we stick together through times like this. And that's why, this is what I'm going to say about this, is it's important to have your kids in sports when they're young, because you get that camaraderie that you have. And that's why when we're watching, I know that it happened a bunch of times in the Badgers game last night with Houston. It happened with Brad Davison. He got hit in the face yesterday, and he was gushing blood out of his nose. After he got taken care of and he had the cotton up his nose, him and the Houston player high-fived. Or when guys fall on the floor, it happened yesterday where I think it was Davison and it might have been Chucky Hepburn, got a foul on a Houston player. He fell, and both of them went to help up the Houston player. That's sportsmanship, and I love that. I love sportsmanship, even, I would say, almost more than I enjoy my teams winning, is I love good sportsmanship, because it's really a bond that people share that love sports. That's why we're all here. So, I mean, as far as sports are concerned, that's what we're here for. And, it's an escape. It's, a way to have friends, to find other people that like what you like. And that's what we're here for.
And it's also why all of you who are commenting are going to invite all your friends and make me and Tyler very rich one day. So please and thank you.
All right. You guys got anything else you want to say?
Nah, man. Bucks in 6. They're wearing the dope jerseys tonight that I had a really hard time not buying at the mall today. So they're going to make me spend some money again.
All right. And if you're in Wisconsin, go check out Parker John's. Get some wings, some barbecue, some pizza, all your game day foods. Go get some Parker John's. I will see you guys next week. Mike will probably have you on a couple times during the Badgers season to keep giving some updates and some perspective. And thanks for joining us after the Badgers win today.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Looking forward to more appearances in the future.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you guys next week.
Later.
Hey, they are.